Mario, he like the Mexican Wolverine. Or you not talking? My name is Jeff.
Watch the new trailer at 22jumpstreetmovie.com.
That's Jefe, man. And thus began the many, many vines and memes that would use that sound clip from then until the current time period that we're in. You know, the whole, my name's Jeff. I mean, you cannot go anywhere online without seeing at least one video or vine that has that clip in there. But welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Today we're taking a look at Friday the 13th of June 2014, and needless to say, this was not an unlucky day by any means necessary. Far from it. It was actually a really damn good day for movies, because we have two sequels that came out this weekend, and they were both really good films, starting with the biggest of the two. That is, of course, 22 Jump Street. After making their way through high school twice, big changes are in store for Officers Schmidt and Jenko, once again played by Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, when they go deep undercover at a local college. But when Jenko meets a kindred spirit on the football team, and Schmidt infiltrates the bohemian art major scene, they begin to question their partnership. Now, they don't have to just crack the case, they have to figure out if they can have a mature relationship. If these two overgrown adolescents can grow from freshmen into real men, college may be the best thing that ever happened to them. And, like I said, 21 Jump Street was one of those big surprises from 2012. A slick, funny, very smart comedy that took liberties with adapting the original show to make for one of the funniest comedies in a long, long time. And it's hard to top a great predecessor. I mean, many films have failed to do that. We've touched on several of them many times on this show, such as more recent examples of this: Hangover 2, Hangover 3, Taken 2, 1,000,000,006 other sequels that were nothing but cash grabs, and this was back in 2014. Imagine my feeling when I talked about this movie back then. I would have never thought that 12 years later we'd be having the same damn conversation, because it's just gotten worse in the last couple of years especially. But here they did what they did in the first film, and not only does it work, but it makes 22 Jump Street one of the best comedy sequels ever. What makes it work is that it's a slightly better movie than its already awesome predecessor, and the fact that it's very smart in letting us know that everything we're about to see has been done before. It takes the Muppets' Most Wanted route, basically saying that, yeah, we're going to do the same thing we did before, but we're going to add a new flair to it. There's little scenes where characters are saying, see, we're doing the same thing all over again. And it's not like the movie isn't trying to force us to believe that. They're literally telling you throughout this film. The only difference is that it's in college instead of high school. And once again, Tatum and Hill just work off each other so well. And honestly, who would have thought you would have gotten a loosely based feature film adaptation of 21 Jump Street that made Channing Tatum a good actor? Maybe Joel Kinnaman should have taken some notes and do comedies like this instead of a stupid RoboCop remake that's rated PG-13. Yeah, that movie sucks, but Ice Cube, once again, is hilarious as Captain Dixon, and the new additions to the cast are very well done. Amber Stevens playing Cube's daughter, Workaholics just Jillian Bell, delivering some of the funniest dialogue bits of the film, not to mention the bajillion 6 cameos shown throughout the film. That would take far too long to talk about here. The comedy works simply because of the film's self-awareness and meta-humor, which is what you come expect from Phil Lord and Chris Miller at this point. I mean, the Lego Movie is one of those examples of that. It's just like a film that knows what it's doing and just goes along with it. And I mean, they could take anything and surprisingly make that work. I would have been more than happy if they ever said, hey, we want to do a Ghostbusters 3, like an actual Ghostbusters 3 before they made the Ghostbusters movies that we've had of recently. Like, I feel like they could have made it work overall, but yeah, it wasn't meant to be. And we did get some good Ghostbusters stuff post-2014. It was a little bit of a rocky start, but we'll touch on that in a couple of years' time. But there really is nothing more I can say about 22 Jump Street that hasn't already been said already. I think it's a very funny film. It's a sequel that's better than the original. If you love 21 Jump Street, you're going to love this one, maybe even more. It's a very smart, very funny, very creative, very fun sequel. That's one of the more enjoyable comedy sequels I've seen in a long, long time. 22 Jump Street is another reason why Phil Lord and Chris Miller are a comedy force not to be messed with. And I think in the years since then, they have shown that they have gotten better and better over time. Not just with comedy, but just entertainment in general. What these guys have been able to do. They're the top guys working in Hollywood right now. I mean, no question about it. They are the best two directors working right now. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the movie that I feel like probably should have done a whole lot better, but on a weekend that includes 22 Jump Street, being number 2 is not the worst thing in the world. How to Train Your Dragon 2.
DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon 2 in 3D. Rated PG.
And the marketing on this one, sadly, was not the greatest overall, but, with these movies, it's just like you have to judge. You can't just judge the book by its cover. Kung Fu Panda is one of the best examples of that. And even the first How to Train Your Dragon was one of those movies that really not a lot of people were expecting it to be that great. But turned out to be one of DreamWorks' best movies overall, and I was really looking forward to seeing this one. Despite the lackluster TV spots, the trailers were great, man. I mean, anytime you throw that song Kings and Queens from 30 Seconds to Mars, it's just a great song overall, and it's just like, for a movie like How to Train Your Dragon, it just fits that song very, very well. It fits the tone of the movie very well too. But not only did this movie meet my expectations, they pretty much exceeded them. This delivered on everything I was hoping for that the movie was going to deliver when I first saw that teaser last summer, and it delivers on everything a good sequel should do. It gives us a better story development, the animation is crisper and better, and more importantly, it does up the ante in terms of the action and drama to the point where one of the main characters dies in this movie, and not going to say who it is if you haven't seen it already, but it's really sad. It's not just put in there for the cheap dynamics, but it's there to evolve the story in general and allow us to grow more with these characters, which is what makes the sequel more interesting, because it does something that not a lot of sequels really did back then, and that's grow the characters in time. I mean, these characters got older since the last time we saw them. I mean, these characters do look very different. Not only show that they look older than the last time, but even in the show that they did between these, they show that they're fully capable of handling any situation this time around. Unlike the last movie, nobody's talking down to Hiccup, not even his father. He knows what he's doing up until he confronts the villain and knows what he's going up against. And, you know, one of the big things in the trailer is that we meet Hiccup's mother, voiced by Cate Blanchett, and we find out she was taken by a dragon when Hiccup was a baby, and her father believed that a dragon killed her. And I like the relationship between Valka and Stoic definitely showing prominently here when they're reunited. Once again, it's not forced by any means necessary. It feels genuine and realistic, and the brief time they have together on screen shows they really do have a good relationship, and they do still love each other, even after everything that has happened between the two of them is in this world. I like the newcomers in here. Kit Harington pulling in his best Christian Bale impersonation as Eret. I mean, seriously, I thought it was Christian Bale the first time I heard it, but Jai Hansu as Drago, the main villain, and cue your Rocky IV Drago scream, because, yeah, it had to be done. But, yeah, Drago is your typical bad guy who just wants to take over the world, of course. Insert your Street Fighter M. Bison, of course, meme. But where in the first movie they went up against a freaking giant-ass dragon just because because it's a giant-ass dragon that feeds on the small dragon slaves if it can't get enough food. Draco is just a power-hungry villain. The action is much more epic this time around, with a ton of brilliantly shot action sequences, and the animation, once again, top-notch. It was definitely worth it seeing it in 3D on a big screen for those amazing flying scenes, and they looked incredible. Like, the big difference between this and the How to Train Your Dragon live-action movie simply was the fact that the live-action movie was nothing but a rip-off of the first movie, but How to Train Your Dragon 2 not only has the great visuals, but the great storytelling to go along with it. There's nothing really bad I could say about this movie, except the fact that the villain may not be as strong as the first film was, but even then, Jai Hansu is still pretty good as the villain in general, but, I mean, it exceeded my expectations when I saw it back then. I was really going into it hoping it was going to be good, but it upped the game on everything you could have asked for. It upped the ante on the animation, the story, the action, the drama, the tension, the comedy. It just came together, and DreamWorks has another solid animated sequel from a company that has already given us Shrek 2, Kung Fu Panda 2, Madagascar 2, and now How to Train Your Dragon 2. I mean, if it wasn't for the Lego movie, this would have been the best animated movie of the year. And it's a year where we got a lot of good animation in general here. And this one definitely is a high must-see for any fan of the original film. It continues the story on from the previous film and works very well, outlasting the first film, which is very hard to do, but it just works, man. It's a terrific film. I can't recommend this one enough. How to Train Your Dragon 2. Seek it out if you haven't already seen it already. So with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, another double feature this time around. I guess the summer was about releasing 2 movies at once on the same day instead of just multiple series of films. No, we have 2 films. This one's not as exciting as this past weekend's was. Think Like a Man 2, which is an example of a comedy sequel that doesn't work, unlike 22 Jump Street and How to Train Your Dragon 2. Well, that's not technically not even a comedy sequel, but you get the idea. But then we have Clint Eastwood tackling a musical, not just any musical, the musical about Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. The Jersey Boys gets the big screen treatment. We'll touch on that one. We'll take a look at both of those movies tomorrow. We'll take a look at them then. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.